The silent approach, the council chamber was filled with voices, the sound of many alien tongues echoing against the tall stone walls. Reports were being handed from one desk to another, glowing screens filled with strange readings. At first, no one believed them. It looked like a mistake, a sensor glitch, but the patterns kept repeating. An unknown ship had entered the far edge of the galaxy. Its size was far greater than any registered vessel. Some laughed, others frowned. A few grew silent. The reports carried the same word again and again. Titan class. The name Titan had not been spoken in the galaxy before. The Council had never heard of such a thing. They believed humans were still weak, a young species trying to rise. They were known as stubborn but not powerful. The Council remembered them as a race with small colonies and small ships. Yet now something was moving quietly through the void. Councillor Theric leaned forward, his scaled hands pressing against the table, his voice sharp. This is nonsense. Humans cannot build such a monster ship. Their science is primitive compared to ours. The chamber agreed with a roar of laughter, but the laughter soon died when a clear image appeared on the screen. It showed a massive silhouette drifting through the blackness. Stars disappeared behind its shape. It was not a shadow. It was metal. A warship larger than any the galaxy had ever recorded. The chamber fell into silence. Another counselor, Elder Yoral, spoke slowly. I have lived long enough to know when silence means danger. If this ship belongs to humans, then we have underestimated them for too long. His words made the chamber uneasy. Across the room, young admirals shook their heads, their arrogance clear. It is only one ship, even if it is large. Our fleets can crush it in minutes, one of them declared. But no one noticed the fear hidden in his trembling hands. The warship did not answer any hails. Hundreds of messages were sent, in dozens of languages, in every signal code. The Council knew, but the Titan remained silent. It moved at a steady pace, slow and deliberate like a beast that did not need to rush. Scientists studied the readings with wide eyes. Its engines glowed with energy never seen before. Its hull was layered with shields upon shields. Its weapon systems remained dark, but their outlines were enough to bring shivers. The council chamber filled again with whispers. Why does it not speak? Why does it come here? Is it alone? The questions had no answers. The unknown was more frightening than the truth. In one corner, Elder Yoral whispered to himself, Silence is not weakness. Silence is warning. His words went unheard. The Titan continued to move closer to Council territory. Systems along the border went dark. Satellites lost contact. Patrol ships returned damaged, their crews shaking. They spoke of feeling watched, as if the Titan did not need to fire, as if its presence was enough. A secret meeting was held inside a dark chamber below the council floor. Only the oldest members were present. They remembered ancient records, fragments of human wars long forgotten, stories of Earth's endless resilience. Humans had always survived, no matter the odds. Some feared this Titan was not a new creation but the result of hidden progress, something humanity had been building in secret while the galaxy mocked them. Outside, the media began to spread rumors. Across planets, people asked the same question. What is the Titan? Some believed it was a bluff. Others whispered that it was the first sign of human revenge. Fleet commanders gathered, their maps glowing with red lines. Plans to intercept the Titan were drawn, but every officer hesitated to give the final command. They did not know what they were facing. Meanwhile, the Titan warship kept moving, its lights cold and distant, like eyes staring into the council's heart. No aggression, no answer, no voice, only silence. Then one night, a broadcast suddenly appeared across every system, a live feed from a border station. The station camera caught the Titan passing close by, its surface reflecting the starlight. Thousands of weapons embedded across its hull, but all of them asleep. Millions watched as the Titan drifted forward, silent as death. Its shadow stretching across the stars, the sight alone froze whole worlds in fear. Inside the council chamber, no one spoke. Even the loudest voices had fallen quiet. The weight of silence pressed against them all. They realized that power was not always shown with fire. Sometimes power was shown by doing nothing, by simply existing. Elder Ural leaned back in his seat, his eyes heavy. "This is not the approach of a weakling. This is the approach of a master," he whispered. The Titan kept moving, closer and closer, its silence screaming louder than any weapon, and the council trembled. Whispers of fear, the council chamber. Did not sleep day and night. The alien leaders argued under the heavy glow of their ceiling lights. The Titan warship had stopped just outside their central borders. It neither attacked nor retreated. It simply waited. Fear grew like a storm in the hallways. Corridors filled with whispers. Soldiers spoke to one another in hushed voices. Scientists shook their heads. Even the proud admirals who once mocked humanity now avoided each other's eyes. Counselor Therak slammed his hand against the table, his scaled skin rippling with anger. "We cannot bow to silence. We must send our fleets, show these humans who rules the stars." His words were sharp, but even he felt a tremor in his chest. Elder Ural raised his voice, softer but heavier. "You have not seen what I have seen, Therak. I lived through the war with the Koran Empire. I know the scent of danger, and this silence is more dangerous than 1,000 fleets." Their words clashed in the air, sparks of pride and wisdom fighting for dominance. Younger leaders leaned toward Therak, hungry for war. Older leaders leaned toward Ural, begging for caution. In the shadows of the chamber, an envoy from the outer colonies spoke for the first time. "My patrol ships saw the Titan. They said it did not move like a machine. It moved like a living thing, as if it knew they were there, as if it was watching." His voice cracked as he recalled the reports. The chamber grew quiet again. Fear spread through silence more quickly than any speech. Outside the chamber, the streets of alien cities buzzed with rumor. Markets were filled with frightened voices. Mothers held their children close. News screens showed endless images of the Titan drifting in space, its vast frame blotting out the stars. On one world, priests declared the Titan was a divine punishment. On another, rebels shouted that humanity had risen to claim justice. Panic and hope spread side by side. Fleet commanders gathered in their war rooms, maps flashing red with warning signals. One commander, Admiral Chorus, leaned close to his staff. "If humans have built one Titan, they may have built more. Are we ready to fight against shadows we cannot count?" No one answered. Inside the council chamber, a secret recording was played. It came from a border patrol ship that had gotten too close. The crew had whispered their last words before the signal was lost. "The Titan is watching us. It sees us. It does not blink." After that, static filled the recording. The crew was never heard from again. The chamber filled with murmurs. Was it destroyed? Were they captured? Why no wreckage? The mystery deepened. Young generals full of arrogance still refused to bow. One shouted, "Fear is weakness. If we fear humans now, we lose our place in the galaxy. Better to strike first than to kneel later." Cheers rose from the younger side, but they sounded hollow. Elder Ural spoke again, his voice calm but unshakable. "Do you not hear it? The silence is their weapon. The Titan does not move because it does not need to. They are showing us that they can freeze our courage without firing a single shot." His words echoed, and, though some mocked him, others lowered their heads in agreement. Meanwhile, strange signals began to appear. Faint pulses across the stars. Scientists traced them back to the Titan, but they could not decode the meaning. Some said it was communication, some said it was warnings, some feared it was counting. Nights grew restless for the council members. They dreamed of the Titan's shadow. Some awoke screaming, others awoke whispering, "It is already here." On one hidden world, an old archive was opened. Inside were forgotten reports from early human history, tales of wars on Earth, battles where humans stood against armies far larger and still won. The archivist trembled as he read the words, "They do not give up. They do not forget. They only wait." The archivist sent a secret message to Elder Ural, warning that this Titan might not be the last, but only the first. Inside the council chamber, debates turned to shouting. Fleets moved restlessly across borders. Soldiers sharpened their weapons, yet no one dared fire the first shot, because deep down they feared what would come after. In the middle of the noise, the Titan remained silent, drifting in the void, its shadow longer than fear itself. One counselor finally whispered, what everyone was thinking but none dared to say aloud. What if the Titan is not a threat? What if it is a message? What if humanity is telling us that our time of mocking them is over? His whisper spread like poison, moving from ear to ear, chamber to chamber, planet to planet, until the entire council trembled, not from the Titan's weapons but from the weight of their own fear. And still the Titan said nothing. The first display. The Titan floated in silence for many cycles. The council waited with growing tension. Fleets moved closer, but never too close. Every eye in the galaxy stared at the massive shadow drifting among the stars. Then one moment came that none would forget. On the border world of Rathian, a mining colony worked as usual. Drills dug into rock. Workers shouted across metal bridges. Life continued despite the fear of the Titan. Above them, a dozen small council patrol ships kept watch. Scanning the skies nervously without warning, the Titan's surface came alive. Lights flickered across its dark hull. Lines of blue energy spread like veins glowing in the night. At first, the watchers thought it was a sign of attack. Soldiers scrambled to battle stations. Alarms screamed across the patrol ships, but the Titan did not fire at them. Instead, it aimed its colossal cannon toward a barren moon nearby. A dead rock with no life, no colonies, nothing but silence. A deep hum shook through space. Even the colony on Rathian felt the vibration under their feet. Miners dropped their tools, children cried. The hum grew louder and louder until it became a roar that echoed across empty space. Then, a single beam of pure white energy erupted. From the Titan, it struck the moon with unstoppable force, and in less than a heartbeat, the moon split apart. Cracks ran across its surface, glowing with fire. Pieces tore away like shattered glass, and the entire moon exploded into dust and flames. The people on Rathian fell to their knees, staring at the sky as the fragments rained across space. The patrol ships pulled back immediately, their captains speechless. No one dared to approach the Titan now. Inside the council chamber, silence reigned once again. Every leader stared at the live feed. The image of the moon breaking into nothingness replayed again and again. Counselor Therak tried to speak, but his voice cracked. This was no accident, this was a warning. Elder Yorl nodded slowly, his voice steady. They did not strike at us, they could have. But they chose not to. They showed us what they can do without killing a single soul. Fear grew heavy in the chamber. The younger generals who once mocked humanity now sat frozen, their confidence broken in distant star systems. Ordinary citizens watched the broadcast in horror. On some worlds, riots broke out. On others, priests declared the humans were gods of destruction. Merchants spoke of abandoning trade routes near human space. Whole colonies began preparing for evacuation, but humanity did not speak. The Titan remained still after the shot, its weapons glowing faintly before fading back into darkness, like a beast returning to slumber. Scientists scrambled to analyze the strike. One report shocked the chamber. The energy output was calculated, controlled. They could have destroyed the colony of Rathian just as easily, but they did not. This means precision, not chaos, another scientist added, his hands shaking. This means they wanted us to watch. They wanted us to understand. Fleet Commander Chorus clenched his fists, his voice full of dread. They showed us that even without a battle, they already won. We saw, we feared, and now we hesitate. In the farthest corner of the council chamber, a young counselor whispered, "If this is just one ship, what happens? If they send 2 or 10? His words spread quickly, stirring more fear. The admirals tried to argue for strength, but their voices lacked fire. "We must prepare to attack," one shouted weakly. But even he did not believe his own words. No one wanted to face the weapon that split a moon with a single strike. Rumors spread across the galaxy. The humans have built a sun killer. The Titan can end worlds with one breath. This was only a warning shot, each rumor more terrifying than the last. In the quiet of his chambers, Elder Yoral looked at the stars, his old eyes heavy with sorrow. "They gave us a chance," he whispered. "They showed mercy, and we trembled. I fear the Council will not learn from this." Back at the mining colony of Rathian, Survivors still stared at the empty place where the moon once hung in the sky. A little child asked her father, "Will they do this to us too?" The father had no answer. The Titan drifted once more into silence, its great frame glowing faintly. The galaxy held its breath, waiting for what would come next, and in the council chamber, the fear deepened because now they knew. Humanity's Titan was not a myth, not a bluff. It was real, and it had shown its first display. The council chamber was restless. Shadows of fear stretched across every corner. They had seen the Titan split a moon in half, yet it had not spoken a word. The silence pressed heavier than any weapon. Fleets circled the borders, every ship on edge. Soldiers trained day and night. But none of them slept well. Dreams of white light tearing worlds apart haunted their minds. Mothers whispered prayers. Fathers told children to stay indoors even though no danger touched their streets. Then it happened, after long days of silence, the Titan finally spoke. It was not through ordinary channels, not through secret codes. Its voice came across every frequency at once, across every ship, every station, every world within the council's reach. The message was simple, one sentence that froze the galaxy: respect our borders or face the consequence. The voice was calm, deep and clear, not robotic, not arrogant, but steady like stone. It was human, and it carried no anger, only certainty. In the council chamber, the message echoed through hidden speakers. Leaders shifted uncomfortably. Some looked around as if the voice had entered the very walls. Councillor Therak's face burned with anger. "They dare speak to us like this, as if we are children," he shouted, but his shaking hands betrayed him. Elder Yoral leaned forward, eyes steady. "Listen to the tone, Therak. It is not a threat spoken in rage. It is a truth spoken with confidence. They are not asking, they are declaring." The generals slammed their fists against the table. "We cannot bow. If we bow once, we bow forever," one shouted. "Strike them before they strike us," another demanded, but none of them moved to give the order, because deep inside they remembered the shattered moon, the hum that shook the stars, the light that swallowed darkness. Outside the chamber, common people trembled. Some shouted for peace, others demanded protection. Protests filled the streets of alien cities. In markets, traders closed their stalls early, fearing what tomorrow might bring on the homeworld of Zarek. Students painted walls with words, "Do not provoke the humans." Soldiers tore the words down, but more appeared, whispers turning into chants, chants turning into waves of fear. The demand spread across the galaxy like fire, short, sharp, unforgettable. Fleet Commander Chorus studied the message again and again, his voice low as he told his second, "They spoke only once, and it was enough to break us." Inside the chamber, the council divided. Half demanded war, half demanded surrender. Their voices clashed like storms. "We must defend our honor," shouted one. "Honor is nothing when your world is dust," another cried back. An envoy from the Rim colonies raised a trembling hand. "What if this Titan is not alone?" he whispered. "What if this is only one voice among many, waiting to speak?" The room went cold at his words. The council tried sending messages back, endless words filled with diplomacy and pride, but none received a reply. The Titan returned to silence, drifting near their borders like a silent judge. Then, one night, an arrogant general named Vorik moved his fleet closer. He broadcasted a challenge across the stars. "Human commander, show yourself or we will burn you where you drift." The Titan did not answer, not with words but with action. A pulse of energy spread from its hull, invisible to the eye but deadly to machines. Half of Vorik's fleet went dark instantly. Engines silent, weapons dead, ships drifting powerless. The surviving crews screamed in panic. Reports flooded the chamber. No explosions, no fire, just silence. "Our ships, they are blind, they are deaf, they are nothing now." General Vorik fell to his knees as he realized the truth. His arrogance stripped away. His voice broke as he whispered, "They could have destroyed us, but they did not. They only showed us what they can do." Fear deepened in the chamber, stronger than before. The demand still echoed, unchanged, untouched. undeniable. Respect our borders, or face the consequence. Elder Ural stood, his voice carrying across the room. This is not war. This is warning. They are offering us a chance. A single chance. If we do not take it, we doom ourselves. Therak spat back. You would kneel to them, Ural replied, with fire in his eyes. I would live to see another sunrise, Therak. I would live so my people do not burn under their silence. The council grew louder, voices clashing. But beneath all the noise was the same truth. The humans had spoken, once, only once, and their words carried more weight than the fleets of 100 worlds. In the void, the Titan drifted again, its silent frame glowing faintly, watching, waiting, patient as stone. The galaxy trembled, not because humanity declared war, but because humanity had given a choice, and choices were more frightening than weapons. The breaking point, the council chamber was drowning in chaos. The demand of the humans still echoed in every mind. Respect our borders, or face the consequence. Some leaders wanted peace, others wanted war, and in the middle of their noise, fear grew heavier with every passing hour. But fear does strange things. It makes some cautious and it makes others reckless. A group of young generals gathered in secret, their pride wounded, their anger boiling. They could not accept that humans, a race they once mocked as primitive, had spoken with such authority. General Vorik, still humiliated from his failed challenge, pushed them forward, his voice filled with bitterness. If we sit in silence, they will think us weak. We must act. We must remind them who rules this galaxy. Some hesitated, remembering the shattered moon, but others nodded, anger louder than reason. They planned a strike, a fleet of 300 warships, armed with the deadliest weapons the Council had ever built. Their target was simple, the Titan. When dawn came, the fleet moved, engines roaring, weapons primed. The Council chamber tried to stop them. Elders begged, do not provoke the humans. But the generals ignored them. Their pride, too heavy, their fear twisted into defiance. The fleet approached the Titan like a swarm of fireflies rushing toward a mountain. Their signals filled the void with threats. Human warship, prepare to be dismantled. You are trespassing on Council space. This is your last warning. The Titan remained silent, its vast frame unmoving. Then the fleet opened fire. Hundreds of beams, missiles, and torpedoes raced toward the Titan. The void lit up with fire brighter than stars. Commanders cheered, certain that no ship, no matter how large, could survive such fury. But when the light faded, the cheers died. The Titan stood untouched, its shields glowing faintly. The weapons of 300 ships had done nothing. It was as if the attacks had been swallowed by the void itself. A deep hum began to rise from the Titan, the same hum that had once torn a moon apart. Fear spread through the fleet instantly. Crews screamed as consoles flickered, engines stalled, weapons went dark. In less than a breath, half the attacking fleet was disabled, drifting powerless through space. Their lights gone, their systems. Silent panic broke through the ranks, messages filled the channels. We cannot move. Our weapons are dead. Our shields are gone. But the Titan did not fire to kill. It did not destroy the ships, it left them floating, helpless like children scolded for their arrogance. General Vorik shouted for retreat, his voice broken. Pull back now. But retreat came too late. The Titan's surface lit up once more, thousands of weapons waking at once, but they did not aim at the fleet. They aimed into the darkness, firing into empty space. The blasts tore through asteroids, split them like glass. The fragments scattering across the void was not an attack, it was a message, a display of what could have been. The surviving ships fell silent, crews staring at the destruction, knowing with painful clarity that the Titan had spared them, not because it was weak, but because it was merciful. Inside the Council chamber, the reports arrived. Live feeds showing disabled fleets drifting like broken toys and asteroids burning from the Titan's warning shots. The elders closed their eyes in sorrow. The younger councilors trembled. Therak shouted in anger. But his words fell flat. None listened anymore. Elder Ural rose slowly, his old voice heavy. This is the breaking point. Do you not see they gave us another chance? They struck at nothing when they could have struck at us. This is mercy, not weakness. The chamber grew quiet, the truth too sharp to ignore. In the streets of alien worlds, panic turned into despair. Families wept, soldiers questioned their commanders, and whispers filled every corner. If humans wanted war, we would already be ash, but not everyone accepted the truth. Pockets of arrogance remained, still dreaming of revenge, still blinded by pride. The Titan, however, returned to silence once again, drifting calm and unshaken and across the galaxy. Fear no longer came from the unknown, but from the terrible truth they had now seen with their own eyes. Humanity's Titan had given them mercy, and mercy was more frightening than destruction because mercy meant control, mercy meant power, mercy meant that the Titan could decide who lived and who did not, and the Council finally realized they were no longer in command of their own fate.